I want to start by owning something. For about 6 years early in my career, I told homeowners to drop a blue puck in the toilet tank. Sounded smart. Water turns blue, bowl stays fresh. Nobody has to think about it. I said it in kitchens. I said it in hallways. I said it standing right next to the toilet I was supposed to be fixing. Then I started getting called back to those same houses. Flappers gone hard. Fill valve seals swollen and weeping. One tank where the rubber had gone gummy enough that I pulled a piece off with my thumbnail. Ask me how I know that puck was the problem. I know because the houses that never used one did not have that failure. Uncle Ray never touched the stuff. He used to say the inside of a tank is a machine, not a bathroom. You do not drop a bar of soap in your lawnmower. So here is what I am going to show you today. A denture tablet in the toilet tank, overnight. And I will be straight with you right up front. Nothing dramatic happens. There is no explosion, no color show, no river of gunk pouring out for the camera. You lift the lid in the morning, and the walls look lighter, and the water smells like nothing at all. That is the whole event. But that quiet nothing is exactly what you want inside a tank. And there is real chemistry behind why it works, where the fancy labeled products chew your parts up. Let me show you. Number one. What is actually growing in your toilet tank? Lift a tank lid in a house where nobody has looked in 10 years, and you will see three things on the walls. A dull gray or tan film, sometimes slick to the touch. A ring or a streak where the water line sits. And in some houses, black or pink patches down in the corners. Here is why. That tank holds standing water at room temperature, all day, every day, in the dark. About 1.5 gallons sits there between flushes in a modern toilet, more in an older one. That water carries dissolved minerals out of your supply line and organic material out of the bathroom air. Skin cells, dust, soap mist. It all drifts in and settles. Bacteria find that setup very agreeable. They colonize the porcelain and build a slime layer to hold themselves in place. In the trade, we call that biofilm, just a bacterial coating that sticks to a wet surface. Once it takes hold, it grabs minerals and staining out of the water and holds them against the wall. That pink stuff people call mold, by the way, usually is not. 9 times out of 10, it is a bacteria that likes wet surfaces and turns a pinkish orange. The black patches are more likely to be actual mold. None of that is going to hurt your toilet in a week, but it feeds the ring in your bowl, it can slow down a fill valve screen, and it makes the whole fixture smell stale. So what do you clean it with? Number two. Why a denture tablet is one of the rare tank safe cleaners. Turn the box over and read it. A denture tablet is a pressed disc of 3 working parts. First, citric acid. Same mild acid that is in a lemon. That is what loosens light mineral film and cuts the sticky part of that slime layer. Second, sodium bicarbonate, plain baking soda. When it meets the citric acid in water, the two react and throw off carbon dioxide gas. That is your fizz. Third, an oxygen bleach. On the label, it reads sodium perborate or sodium percarbonate. In water, it releases oxygen, and that oxygen goes after organic staining. It is not chlorine, it does not smell like a swimming pool, and it does not attack rubber the way chlorine does. Now here is the part people skip. That combination was never picked to clean porcelain. It was formulated to clean dentures, and dentures are acrylic, a soft plastic that scratches and clouds and yellows if you hit it with anything harsh. So the entire product is built around being gentle. A cleaner mild enough for a soft plastic appliance that goes in somebody's mouth is not going to hurt glazed porcelain. And I will tell you the part that matters most for a tank. It dissolves completely. Within a few hours, there is no solid left. Nothing sitting on the bottom, nothing wedged against a moving part. The tablet does its job, and then it is gone. Hold on to that, because it turns into the whole argument later. But first, what is that fizz actually doing? Number 3. Number 3. What the fizz actually does. Drop a tablet in the tank, and it starts working the second it hits the water. You will hear it. Sounds like a soda opening in the next room. Two things happen at once. The first is mechanical. Those carbon dioxide bubbles form on the tank wall and on the film itself, and as they break loose, they lift and peel. It is a very gentle scrubbing action, and it reaches everywhere the water touches. The back wall you cannot get a hand to. The corners behind the fill valve. The underside of the ledge. No brush gets into all those places. Bubbles do. The second is chemical. While the fizzing is going, the citric acid is softening the mineral part of that film, and the oxygen bleach is working on the stained part. That is the slow half of the job, and it is why you leave it overnight instead of 30 minutes. 6 to 8 hours of soaking does more than any amount of scrubbing at 11 o'clock at night. Now, between you and me, this is not a miracle. If your tank has hard, crusty buildup you can chip with a fingernail, a tablet will not take it off. What it does very well is keep a clean tank clean and bring a mildly filmy tank back to clean. Think maintenance, not rescue, which brings us to how you actually run it. Number 4. Number 4. The overnight method, start to finish. Here's the whole thing. Last flush of the night, let the tank refill all the way. Then lift the lid off and set it flat on the floor on a towel. Those lids are heavy and they crack easy, and a replacement for an older toilet runs $50 or more if you can find the match. Drop in 2 tablets for a standard tank. 3 if it is a big older tank or the film is heavy. Do not overdo it. 6 tablets does not clean 6 times better, it just costs you more. Put the lid back on and walk away. Do not flush. That is the part people get wrong. Flush and you dump that whole treated tank down the drain. Refill with clean water and waste your tablets. Let it sit all night. Next morning, lid off again. Take a soft brush, an old toothbrush works fine, and give the walls a light pass. Not scrubbing, wiping. The film should come off like it has already let go, because it has. Then flush once and let the tank refill. Lid back on. That is it. You are done. 10 minutes of actual hands-on time, split across 2 days. Run that once a month and you will never see buildup in that tank again. That is the routine. Ebook plus subscribe. Quick word while that lid is off. A slow drain will bug you more than tank film. I wrote a book called 101 Ways to Unclog Any Drain, and every fix in it uses cheap stuff already in your cabinet. Link is in the description or scan the code on your screen. Subscribe to the Vintage Pipe Fitter for old trade know-how that saves real money every week. Number 5. Number 5. The bowl version and what it is good for. Same tablets, different job. Drop 1 or 2 into the bowl water. Let them sit 30 minutes. Then take your bowl brush around the water line and flush. What that handles is light waterline marks. The faint gray or tan ring that shows up between cleanings. The acid and the oxygen bleach loosen it, and it wipes right off. What it does not handle is the hard ring. You know the one, that chalky band that feels rough and does not budge when you scrub. That is mineral scale. It needs a stronger acid and a longer soak, and I will come back to it. One warning, and it is a real one. Do not mix a denture tablet with bleach or with any bowl cleaner that has bleach in it. Oxygen bleach and chlorine bleach are different chemistries, and mixing cleaners in a closed-up bathroom is how people hurt their lungs. If there is any doubt, flush the bowl clear first, which raises the obvious question. If they are that gentle, why does a blue puck in the same tank do so much damage? Number 6. Number 6. Why the blue puck destroys what the tablet does not. A denture tablet is in your tank for one night, and then it is chemically gone. Dissolved, diluted, flushed. Total contact time, call it 8 hours a month. A blue puck is a solid block of chlorine compound sitting in that tank 2 or 3 months straight, releasing chlorine every minute into a small volume of standing water. And here is the part that does the damage. The puck sits in a basket, right in the flow path. Or worse, the loose kind rolls down and comes to rest right on top of the flapper. Chlorine and rubber do not get along. It breaks down the polymer chains in rubber and in the softer plastics. The flapper goes hard, or it goes soft and gummy, and either way, it quits sealing. Fill valve seals swell. I have pulled flappers apart with my fingers in houses that ran those pucks. And that is not just my opinion. Go read the packaging on a name-brand flapper sometime. The major flapper makers void the warranty if you have been running an in-tank chlorine product. When the outfit that makes the rubber tells you their own warranty is off, that ought to settle it. A $5 flapper failing early is no disaster. One that fails slowly and leaks is, because it can push a water bill up before you ever hear a sound. So the tablets are safe. But are they enough? Number 7. Number 7. What a denture tablet will not do. I could stop here and let you believe I found the one product that solves everything. I am not going to, because you would try it on the wrong problem and decide I was full of it. Here are the honest limits. Heavy mineral scale is not a tablet job. That crusty white or rust-colored buildup in the tank or under the bowl rim is calcium and lime. It wants straight citric acid, sold as a powder for a few dollars, or plain white vinegar for a longer soak. Shut off the supply, flush the tank empty, and let it sit a few hours. Different video. Serious tank mold is not a tablet job either. Real black growth in the corners wants hydrogen peroxide. Regular 3% out of the drugstore, poured in, left an hour, then brushed. So think of it in tiers. Tablets are your monthly maintenance. Citric acid is your scale job. Peroxide is your growth problem. Different tools, same toolbox. And none of this touches a main sewer line, and none of it belongs near a gas line. If your toilet is backing up into the tub, or you are smelling sewer gas through the house, that is a licensed pro with a camera, not a tablet. Knowing where to stop is part of doing your own work. Now let us talk about the brush, because people get that wrong too. Number 8. Number 8. The right brush and the one that ruins a tank. Soft nylon, that is it. An old toothbrush works. A soft detail brush out of the auto section works. What does not work, and I mean it does real damage, wire brushes, steel wool, green scouring pads, and any powdered abrasive cleanser. Here is why. The inside of your tank is glazed porcelain, a hard, glassy coating fired over the ceramic. That glaze is what makes it smooth and easy to keep clean. Scratch it, and you have opened up thousands of tiny grooves, and every one of them is a place for film to grab and hold. So the aggressive cleaning you did in March is why that tank gets dirty faster come June. You made the surface rougher. I have walked into houses where somebody took a wire brush to a tank, and the walls looked dingy from that day forward. Gentle and often beats hard and occasional. That is true for most of plumbing. Speaking of gentle, are there parts in that tank you should not be brushing at all? Number 9. Number 9. The parts you leave alone. While that lid is off, you are looking at a small machine. Let me name what you are seeing so you know what not to touch. The tall, skinny column on one side is the fill valve. That is what refills the tank after a flush and shuts itself off when the water comes up. There is a float on it, a ball on an arm in an older toilet, or a cup that slides up the column in a newer one. The big opening in the middle of the tank floor is the flush valve, and the rubber piece sitting over it is the flapper. That is what the chain lifts when you push the handle. The fat pipe standing straight up, open at the top, is the overflow tube. It is a safety drain. If the fill valve ever fails to shut off, water goes down it into the bowl instead of over the rim onto your floor. Around all of that, nothing aggressive. Wipe the fill valve column lightly if it is filmy. Leave the float alone. Do not scrub the seat the flapper sits on with anything rough. A scratch there is a leak you just created yourself. Clean the walls. Respect the machine. So how often should you be doing this? Number 10. Number 10. How often, and the trick that gets you to actually do it. Once a month is the honest answer. 2 tablets, overnight, brush, flush. If your water is soft and your bathroom stays dry, stretch it to every other month and you will be fine. On well water or hard city water, or in a bathroom with no good exhaust fan, stay monthly. Now the trick, because knowing the schedule and keeping it are 2 different animals. Tie it to something you already do. First of the month, same night you flip the calendar or pay a bill. Uncle Ray tied his to the electric bill showing up in the mailbox, which tells you how long ago that was. And keep the tablets in the bathroom, not the kitchen, not the garage. A small container in the vanity, 10 feet from the tank. The reason people's tanks look the way they do is not that they do not care. It is that the cleaner lives in the wrong room. All right, what does all this actually cost you? Number 11. Number 11. What this actually costs. Store brand Denture tablets run about $2 to $3 for a box of 40. Get the plain drugstore label, not the name brand, because the ingredients are the same 3 things, and the rest is packaging. Do the arithmetic with me. 40 tablets at $2.50 is about 6 cents a piece. 2 tablets a month is 12 cents. Call it $1.50 a year to keep that tank clean. Compare that to what people spend instead. A twin pack of in-tank cleaners runs $5 or $6, replaced 4 times a year. 20-something a year for the privilege of slowly ruining your flapper, and the flapper is the real number. That part is $5 to $8 at any hardware store and takes 10 minutes with no tools. Call somebody out to do it, and a minimum service call in most of the country runs $150 to $300 before anybody touches a wrench for a $5 rubber part. Between you and me, that gap is the whole reason I make these. So, what else can you do while that lid is already off? Number 12. Number 12. The free test to run while the lid is already off. This is the one I want you to remember because it costs nothing and it catches the most common water waster in an American house. The lid is off anyway, so go get food coloring out of the kitchen drawer, any color, and put about 10 drops into the tank water. Give it a swirl with your finger so it spreads through. Now walk away for 15 minutes. Do not flush. Do not let anybody use that bathroom. Come back and look in the bowl. If the water down there has picked up color, you have got a leaking flapper. Water is passing from tank to bowl without anybody touching the handle, and it has probably been doing it for months. If the bowl is still clear, you are sealing fine. Flush once, and you are done. A flapper that leaks quietly makes no sound you will notice, and it runs a lot of water through. Plenty of people find out from a water bill that jumped with no explanation. The fix is that $5 flapper. Shut the supply valve behind the toilet, flush to empty the tank, unhook the chain, slide the old flapper ears off the two pegs on the overflow tube. Put the new one on the same way. Hook the chain back up with a little slack. Turn the water on. 10 minutes. Run that dye test every time you run the tablet treatment. It is free, and the lid is already in your hand. Before you set that lid back down, my book, 101 Ways to Unclog Any Drain, covers the kitchen sink and disposal, the bathroom, tub, and shower, the toilet, laundry, and floor drains, down to the main line. Every clog you handle yourself is a $150 to $400 call nobody has to make. It is linked below. Hit subscribe, and the Vintage Pipe Fitter keeps sending you money-saving trade work. One more thing before you go, since that lid is off. Look at the small flexible tube coming off the top of the fill valve. It should clip onto the rim of the overflow tube and squirt water down into it. What I find in about half the houses I walk into is that tube shoved down inside the overflow pipe, under the water line. That is a siphon waiting to happen. Tank water gets pulled down the tube continuously, and your fill valve never stops topping it back off. Slow, silent, and it shows up on your bill. Pull it out. Clip it to the top of the overflow tube so the end sits above the water. Costs nothing. Takes 5 seconds. And now you know.